Let's see what this is about. Wow. 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 Ah, that can't be real. That can't be real. Uh, see, this is what happens when you let some people like Ramza out the out. Yeah.
I know you're the best dad in the world, right? Well, I try, man. I try. With you, I wish, everybody was your son. Why? Because then you would be like, oh yeah. Oh yeah?
That's what I'm talking about. Some appreciation for the papas. All right, I can't look at that. But all right, everybody, welcome to Blacksmith Podcast. It's Saturday. We're on our financial topics. Got a great show lined up. Y'all already know what it is, as they say, wherever you're from. Um, all right, so we're gonna kick off our first topic, which is not CNN. I put this. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. We'll kick off Spirit Airlines. Why not? Let's see. Is it gonna play a commercial? Make me have to slap somebody. All right, so let's just talk about it first. Spirit Airlines got canceled, it's going out of business. This is CNN business. I heard about this news May 2nd, so this was a week ago. I heard about it after the show though. And I'll tell you, this is proof that you can never ever get too comfortable. What Beyonce say, don't think you're irreplaceable because they about to replace them. Here we go.
Carrier Spirit Airlines has shut down. A statement from the company says all Spirit flights have been cancelled and travelers should not go to the airport. A last minute bailout from the Trump administration failed to materialize late on Friday. You're seeing their website there. Now, thousands of employees are out of work and millions of ticket holders must make new arrangements. Other airlines have said they will help stranded passengers and workers. It's the first significant US airline to cease operations in nearly 25 years.
That's right.
Let's bring in Meghna Maharishi. She's an airline reporter with Skift
Mahmood,
and joins us from New York. Meghna, thanks so much for being with me. Spirit is ceasing operations. This is huge. What sort of reactions have you seen so far to that massive news?
Yeah, so this has really big implications, I think, for air travel. Namely, the biggest one is that, Spirit really made air travel affordable. That's what it's known for. When it came to the scene in the mid 2000s, it championed this model of unbundled fares, that were dirt cheap, and you would have ancillary fees for everything else, such as carry-ons and checked baggage. And at one point, Spirit was just so successful with this model that it forced other carriers to adopt basic economy so they could compete with Spirit. So, really, I think its legacy is that it made air travel very affordable in the US. It had a known effect of putting downward pressure on airfares in the markets that it was in. So, now without Spirit there, I think the big thing that you are going to see is that airfares will probably start to go up in some of those big markets for Spirit, such as Florida.
Ooh,
Spirit
not
had
Florida.
hoped to emerge from Chapter 11 as a smaller airline, right? How much did surging fuel costs destroy that recovery plan?
Completely, I would say. I think the fuel costs, which are now nearly double of what Spirit had initially projected in February, it made it essentially impossible for Spirit to execute its Chapter 11, its post bankruptcy Chapter 11 plan. And I think also then Spirit didn't really have any projections for how it would handle high fuel costs, which also started creating some uncertainty among creditors in the past couple months as well. And I think then it just became increasingly clear that a liquidation was really going to be the only option for Spirit.
We are also hearing that there was a last-minute
Yeah, that
$500
sucks.
million government rescue proposal tied to a large equity stake. Why did that effort fail?
Yeah, I think that effort appeared to have failed because talks with creditors hit an impasse this past week. As part of the deal, as you just mentioned, the government would have given Spirit a 500 million loan in exchange for warrants on a significant stake in the carrier, and that stake would have put the government ahead of the other creditors. And I think that became a big problem in a lot of the negotiations, and that's why this bailout sort of failed to materialize for Spirit. I think the creditors seem to have thought that they would be put in a weaker position financially with this arrangement in the event Spirit did liquidate. The government would be the main beneficiary. And I believe that just became a big problem in the end. And I think they thought that they would get more out of a liquidation for Spirit. And at this point, also, Spirit just did not have the additional cash to last.
Well, speaking about cash, let's talk about our money. If viewers have Spirit flights booked this weekend, what should they do right now regarding refunds and rebooking and credit card protections?
Yeah, so right now, Spirit did say that if you have booked a flight with them directly using a credit card or a debit card, you will be automatically refunded. If you book through an online travel agency, you would have to contact the agent directly for a refund. And then, if you did book a Spirit flight using maybe something like a flight credit or points with Spirit's loyalty program, you might be compensated for that at a later date, as I think they flesh out the bankruptcy proceedings.
All right. So let's talk about it. So her name is Megna. Don't get me started. All right. Maharishi. I don't think it's that difficult. I thought he said Mahmoud or something. I was like, what? All right. So rest in peace to Spirit Airlines. I saw that in the chat. Undefeated, by the way. Let's see what the chat said. Yep. Here it is. Yeah, it happens. 309 confirmed deaths. Okay, that was about the Hanna-Barbera virus. What is it? Hanta virus. Okay. We'll get to that one later on, but as far as Spirit, yeah, so rest in peace is correct. They officially shut down a week ago. Uh-oh, here we go with the shenanigans. Amazing Grace is acting up today. Nah. He was just saying rest in peace. Yeah, the company went under. And think about it. It's not like they had the market cornered. You could think of at least five other airlines, right? Let's do that. JetBlue, Delta, American, United, Alaska. Did we do it? That's five. Um, and there's more than that, right? So it's not like they had the market corner. One thing that's key that I heard them say was that their strategy in getting into this field was undercutting. Undercutting. They didn't say that directly, but that's what they're talking about. They were undercutting the market. I don't think it's a bad strategy, but I don't think that's one that's necessarily sustainable if you look at margins, right? So typically businesses operate on profit margins of about 10%, right? 15 is better than 10 in case something like this happens. Something in the world happens that raises prices of something that you really count on. 20% better, 30% insane, right? Um, but if let's say the average airliner was running on 10% margins and they come and they undercut and they're running on 7%. That means, yes, they will get passengers. However, that means they are closer, they are on the razor's edge of going under because they don't have as much of a margin of error. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. So let's just look at it right here. They're doing a full scale liquidation, which means that all of their counters at the airport, all of their jets, all of their equipment, all of that stuff is going to be auctioned off, and all of their jets, all of that stuff I just named, even more, will be bought by different air carriers. Now, see, now that they went under, before I talk about that, he was saying that there was plans for a government bailout. This was their second bankruptcy, or so I had found. Oh, it's right here on the screen. This is what I was reading before I played the video. So this is their second bankruptcy. They were in serious financial trouble even before the Iran war. So that is what I want y'all to understand. The Iran conflict didn't start their financial troubles. I think if you have a business model of undercutting your competition, it's not wrong, but you can start there to get a name, but you can't stay there if those are not going to be feasible. You're always supposed to be looking at your next quarter, your next year, your next 5 years, right? And if you saw that 5 years down the road it was not sustainable, then you have to switch it today. You have to switch it today. You don't just keep running a road you know it's going to wind up in a dead end. You don't just keep doing that. So just think about that. So Spirit, and then here's another thing, man. I'm not trying to be too critical. If gasoline was the only thing keeping you, if surging prices of gasoline made you go under, yeah, you had some serious issues right away. So Spirit Airlines, rest in peace to them. Now it says 17,000 employees are without work. So, we feel for them. They're impacting passenger travel. We feel for them. Their CEO, their C-suite executives now have to go get new jobs as well. And because what's going to happen with them is they're going to say they ran a company into the ground. So just think about that. So they're the first major U.S. airline to go out of business in nearly 25 years. Customers have tickets for future dates. Now they're out of their money. And this is just a lesson in business, folks. Like, you got to think about their business model. So right here, it says, we're proud of the impact of our ultra low cost model on the industry for over 34 years and hope to serve our guests for many years to come. Listen. How you start a race is not usually how you finish a race. And in this case, financial bars. In this case, they could have started low, but they needed to raise their prices later on, right? She said that they would allow you to book ultra low tickets, but then ancillary costs. So any and everything costs money if you want to do it. I would like to use the bathroom. That'll be $5. Swipe your card here. I would like to lean my seat back. $2 per minute. Per minute. Wi-Fi. Oh yeah, now that's gonna run you about $10. Do y'all have a? And I don't know if they have if they had a credit card. Like some of these airliners, like American Airlines, they were partnered with Barclays Bank. It's real stuff, man. Like this is real stuff. Like, I just talked to a guy yesterday, right? He's a husband of my wife's friend that goes to her spin class, right? Good dude. He's a 10-year Marine veteran. He said he wanted to open a business. I'm not going to say what it was, but I said all on its own, it might fail. And it was a good idea. It was actually a good idea. And I said all on its own, that's not enough to hold a business up. And so I said, think about it, right? If you have a piece of land and you build a storage facility, that storage facility, depending on what your mortgage is going to be, the cost of the building, all of that stuff, might be sufficient. But why stop there, even if it is, right? Typically, you start people with like a $30 fee fee for their storage unit for the first month or the first 3 months, right? To get them in the door. But guess what? Storage facilities do not keep it there. After that 3 months is over, that thing raises to like 40, $50 a month. And most people put their storage units on auto pay. So you know what happens? Every 3 months, those storage rates are going up. Now you have people paying $300 for a storage container that 2 years ago they were paying $30 for, right? And so if you follow the storage model, think about it. They have storage units. You put vending machines at the storage units. So now they are patronizing your business twice. Sodas, drinks of any kind, I guess, snack machines. Now you partner with the local movers and you split the cost with the local movers. Now you do, what was the other thing I said? If you have more land than you need for the storage containers, now what you do is you offer people long-term storage for like classic vehicles or RV parking or whatnot, and you can charge for that too. Now that's for streams of income. You could also put a U-Haul in your look. He just said it right there in the comments. See, he's not just on his y'all know him. You could put a U-Haul in your storage facility. So one business might be doing it, but why would you not have 5 streams of income from that one business? That is going to hold it up. So I'm breaking down a SoundHound AI video or earnings call. And if y'all have seen it before, I broke it down, I think, live on a Saturday. So this is SoundHound AI. That's the tree trunk right here. This is the ground going horizontal, right? And these are the roots coming off of it. Now, I can't read my writing backwards. Oh, this says auto. They're in the automotive industry. They're doing the voice AI for Lucid, right? Lucid Airs. This is the banking industry, restaurants, international. I can't see. Hold on. Let me turn this around. Oh, telecom, insurance. What is this? Hospital and energy. And this is just some of the ways that company is holding themselves up. Now, the stock price does not reflect how they're putting roots down yet. But remember, I think it's Chinese bamboo. For the first 4 years, only grows 1 inch per year. But in that 5th year, grows 79 feet. Think about that. Was Spirit doing that? I do not think so. I think what they had planned to do was operate right there, undercutting other businesses. But I get that. So you get people with cheap flights onto your planes. Now, cheap, I mean, even cheap has a higher end, right? Are we talking $50 tickets from California to Florida? Well, what is the next lowest airliner charging? $179 for a one-way or a round trip, I should say, because I think those are cheaper, or with the stops in between. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Let's say it was $179. Why don't you raise yours to $159? Why be down at 50? Why not be 159? It's still cheaper. You know what I mean? Did y'all have a credit card? Well, y'all partnered with a bank. Do you charge for carry-ons? Do you charge for Wi-Fi? Right? That's 4. Look, stop right there. That's 4 ways to. They're smarter than me. I guarantee their CEO has made more money in his lifetime than I've made right now. Right? So just get what I'm saying. So this business has fallen, and I guarantee you, JetBlue or one of these other airlines that's, I don't think, no offense to JetBlue, but the top tier airlines are probably going to look at them and keep it moving. The airliners that need more jets and need more stuff and maybe some staff, right? They're going to need to hire staff, and 17,000 employees are out of work, right? So if they get more jets, they need more mechanics. If they get more jets, they need more attendants at the gates. If they get more jets, they're going to need people working the counter at the gate. So some of these 17,000 employees might actually be available for work. So there's a silver lining. But yeah, rest in peace to Spirit Airlines. All right, enough of that. We are going to move on to our next topic. Now, I made 2 shorts the other day. We're just going to go ahead and move this. I'm trying to have a system to how I do this. All right, so we're going to look at Robinhood Ventures Fund I. Robinhood Ventures, or RVI. I made 2 shorts about this. You know what? Why don't I just find them and play them instead of tell y'all about them? Because you may not have seen them. Let's see if I can find my own podcast via YouTube. I guess I could click my emblem. I'm not typing. Okay, hold on. Here we go. I probably could just go to my channel and, oh, there we go. Yeah, look at that. Ah! That's what I sound like. Y'all just can't hear it. All right, let me see these 2.
Well, RBI just hit a 52-week high, so now is definitely not the time to buy. Bars, financial bars. But more importantly, I guarantee it was the news of OpenAI investing into this fund or becoming part of this fund that drove up the price. However, you never buy at the 52-week high unless you want your investment to, y'all know I can't say it, but if it can go back down to about $25, which was the IPO price, I would say that'd be a good time to buy in, but who knows if it just keeps going from here. OpenAI is becoming a part of it. So, but either way, you got to get into the investment. It's private companies. You were never allowed to do that before. So Robinhood for the win. I think it's great content. And if you agree, hit a like, share, and subscribe for TBP, the Blacksmith. Well,
all right, so that part just came to me. I was just doing that, but let's talk about some of this actually. It is
RBI just hit a 52-week high, and it's brought to you by the good folks.
Okay, what is going on? I paused it. Stay. Bad. Stay. All right, cool. So I do think when it hit its 52-week high, now if you look year to date, it just IPO'd in March. So it's not gonna, there's not much data here. But it is up $17. No, because it IPO'd at 25, I thought. Whatever, it's saying 22. So either way, it's up $17, almost $18 from where it IPO'd at. Now, it had fallen down to $21. I should have loaded the boat there because of what it is. Then it came back. It went up to 32, came back down to 24. Again, load the boat there because this one's going to go up. My prediction for RVI is that it's going to be to the moon, because you're talking about IPOs here now, or private companies here. Now, here's my thing about this one. I'm not exactly certain if when a company IPOs is going to come out of this fund, or is this fund just going to be made up of these companies, whether they stay private or they go public, right? Let me include these 3, right? So Databricks, Revolut, Mercor, Air Wallet, Boom-Supersonic, Aura, Ramp, Cash and Cash Equivalents, 11 Labs, OpenAI, and Stripe. Will it just be these companies until they IPO and then they jump out of this fund, or will they just stay in this fund? I do want that question answered, because if they just stay in here, regardless if they're public or private, oh yeah, it's going to be to the moon for sure. And then he talked about in the earnings call, if you haven't seen it, you don't think they can come out of the fund? Okay, fair enough. It is an index fund, and I wasn't. Okay, they're gonna keep the fund just like the S&P 500. See, I don't know everything. I haven't done all of my homework on this one yet, but I think this one is going to be absolutely to the moon because with them being in this fund, OpenAI is enough for people to invest in it right there. Forget the other ones; they may not even heard of them. I've heard of Stripe, Aura, and just Stripe, Aura, and OpenAI. OpenAI is enough. Hold on. What's up, Why Invest? But when the IPO comes out, the billions may sell their shares, and so they may drop it first. Okay, so that's good to know. But the fact that it's an index fund and even ETFs, um, it because it's made up, it's an amalgamation of a bunch of companies. It's a lot less likely to dip as hard as if it were one stock or one company all on its own. What you got, Ramsey? That's what I'm anticipating and waiting for. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. All right, so yeah, the 52-week high was $40.85. The low was $21, as we just saw. If you, why this is such a big deal, I said it before, I'm going to say it again, is because Robinhood Markets here created an opportunity for the common man, us plebeians, us peasants, us paupers, not the princes, if you will, to invest into private equities, i.e., private companies before they go public. Now, we all know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. What is an accredited investor? Look, it's already in my search list. So let's go over this again. That's a person who is permitted by the SEC to invest in the private securities, such as hedge funds, startups, or private equity, because they have at least a $1 million net worth, excluding their primary residence, right? Because why would you allow somebody whose grandmama, grandpapa, papa, mima, whoever left them the $1 million mansion in a will? They didn't earn that money. Why would you allow them to invest in private companies? Well, I'm getting ahead of myself, but let's just go over it and then I'll talk about why. So excluding the primary residence, you got to have $1 million net worth. You have to be earning at least $200,000 for at least 2 years and be on pace to do it your third year, or if you're married, $300,000, right? If you do that, you can be an accredited investor. That means 99% of us good old folks, us regular everyday people, are locked out of investing in private equities. It's just that serious. It's just that simple, right? So now let's talk about why they would exclude your primary residence. They want to know that you've worked for your money and you know what you're doing financially, right? If you're going to invest in private companies. And if somebody left you $1 million home in their will or $700,000 home, you could be doing well for yourself and have a net worth of $300,000. But somebody leaves you a residence, your primary residence, and it's $700,000 net worth. Now you're worth $1 million. Yeah, they're gonna. You didn't earn that $1 million net worth. So, and the reason that's key and that income is so high is because when you invest in private companies, these are companies that do what they call funding rounds. And when they do a funding round, they want what they're doing is they're telling people what their company is about, and they're telling people we need $10 million for round one. You might have heard seed rounds, funding rounds. So people will say, well, why would we invest in it? Well, this is what we need to do. We need to build 2 warehouses that's going to make our main product, and it's going to be able to turn out X amount per hour, X amount per day, X amount per month, X amount per year, which is going to bring us X amount of dollars because they sell for this. It takes this much to make them. And they'll have a whole brief for you and let you know, right? And so then you're thinking, what's my return on investment? So they'll tell you, well, your return on investment, we plan on being a private company for about 3 years. We're going to open up three seed rounds in this year alone, and we're going to use that money to build. And in 3 years, we plan on going public. So we plan on having an evaluation of about $500 million. But in 2 years after that, we plan on being evaluated at 1 billion. Our share price should be this, so your return on investment will be this, right? They break all of that down. It sounds boring, but that's how it works, right? So why would they want the common man to invest in this? Well, the common man, did you know the average household has like 9 credit cards, right? The common man is not good with money, right? What we got? I'm going to get to that one in just a second. But the common man is not good with money. The common man only earns like 60 something $1,000 a year. The common man has a very low net worth, so they don't have a lot of money to invest. Thus, when you ask the common man to give a couple of pennies or a couple of dollars to an investment, it's not enough to make anything shake, right? Also, and you say, well, if you get a million common men to invest $1, that's $1 million. Great. But now they have 1 million people with parts of the company. See what I'm saying? Or you could have one person with those same million shares. Just saying. It's a lot more manageable that way. Also, the common man, if they loaned you $5, don't they come looking for it in 2 days, next week? These companies need this money for 2 or 3 years before they can return it to you. So if you gave them $10,000, it's not giving it to them, that's the problem. It's leaving it with them and trusting them with it for 3 years. Or are you going to use your tax return on something stupid and need that money back? They can't give it back to you because they're building with it. You know where your $10,000 is? Look outside. See that cement truck? They use part of your 10 grand to buy that cement truck. See those computers? That employee right there, we use your $10,000 to pay him. You know what I mean? So I understand part of the way, like with the SEC and private companies, why not? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that Robinhood got in with the SEC and made a fund with private companies so that we can invest in the financial bars. Now let me get to the comments. All right, this just in from JP Morgan Chase on Google. Analysts at JP Morgan Chase, the world's largest bank in terms of market capitalization, said that Bitcoin is gaining over gold as the debasement trade after the war between the U.S. and Iran. Hey, appreciate that. That's some good news right there. Put a fire emoji on that one. That's what's up. Also, when you invest in private money, will be locked for an extended period of time, and they also may lose. Yeah, so yeah. So I didn't say that part, but you're exactly right. They may lose your investment, right? And the common man, that $10,000, if it's lost, they're not going to recover. They're going to be distraught, right? They're not going to recover. And so it's actually a service to you as well to not put your last dollars into something that may get lost, right? But somebody who's earning $200,000 and $300,000 a year and has a net worth of $1 million can afford to eat that loss. So yes, the rich get richer. Absolutely, they do. I see both sides of it. But nonetheless, Robinhood invented RVI. So now you can be like them and get in. So when this one was going to IPO, I was like, I'm going in for a couple hundred shares. I was going to do more than 200, but I was investing in some other stuff and trying to make some option calls. So I put in for 200. I got all 200. And that never really happens. But I got my 200. So I'm in there. So I'm going to wait for a pullback. And hopefully it does. I'm saying hopefully because I'm trying to get in lower than 25. You know what I'm saying? But that's RVI, people. That is RVI. So Databricks, Revolut, Mercor, Air Wallet. Let me uncollapse one of these. Air Wallet came in limited Series G, preferred stock. And then you can click here to learn more about Air Wallet. You can do the same with any of these. But I found this on Robinhood. So let's look at this. Meet the CEOs. Now, if you are not subscribed to Robinhood and you are subscribed to the Blacksmith Podcast, what are you doing? They are going to be funding my channel one of these days. I'm getting in. Allegedly. But they have a playlist that is Meet the CEOs of the venture funds. So let's take a look at these. I'm going to skip this one for the sake of it's 15 minutes. But let's talk to this Bill Gates looking dude.
Hi, I'm Tom Hale. I'm the CEO of Oura, makers of the Oura Ring. Oura's mission is to make health a daily practice for millions of people around the world. We believe that we're trying to transform the worlds of care from sick care to preventative care. The Oura Ring is effectively a health wearable, and it makes it possible for Oura to make predictions about your health that are utterly surprising. We call it giving your body a voice. Oura is capable of telling you things about your physiology that you're not even aware of. Now, it's also something that fits into your life. There's no screen, it's got a long battery life, and that's a really different approach than most things in your world today, which are constantly asking you for attention. Oura reaches and serves a very, very broad customer base. Young people who are just starting, maybe on a fertility journey, people in middle age with kids and jobs who are trying to manage stress or recover their health, or folks going through perimenopause and menopause, or even older folks like me who are trying to age gracefully and to extend their health span. So 2025 was an amazing year for Oura. We've introduced a lot of innovation around health. We shipped health panels. We introduced new methods of measuring stress, pregnancy insights for women who are going through pregnancy. We see all sorts of things that we can do with a persistent wearable on your body. And there should be some kind of intelligence, which is looking out for your health and maybe coaching you through your health journey. We think that the future of health is going to be preventative, and we're going to help people see health problems that are coming down the road. Oura is excited to partner with Robinhood Ventures to bring Robinhood investors along for the Oura journey.
All right, that's all to that one. So first, a couple of things, right? Bill Gates' unfamous young brother is on here explaining, I'm just kidding, his company, right? I'm going to tell you right now, if you plan on owning a company and you can't talk about it as concisely and succinctly as he just did, and clearly with what they do, what they provide, what their goals are, don't even think about it. Or use AI, right? This guy just told you what they do, what their goals are, why they exist, all that kind of stuff. And his vision, all of that in less than 2 minutes. Because I think it rolled the credits at like 1:40 something. So in less than 2 minutes, perfection, right? And they're in this fund. Now, if you haven't known anybody with the Oura Ring, look it up. You wear it. It tells you your oxygen levels while you're awake, while you sleep, how much time you were asleep for, all kinds of stuff like that. He said he thinks the future of healthcare is preventative. So I think he's right, because I think a lot of present day healthcare is preventative. Let's be real, right? We know some of this stuff we are putting in our bodies is not nutritious food, right? I'm talking about anything edible, right? That you're eating for sustenance. It's not all food. Some things say food products. Some things say food, right? Some things you're eating for nutrition, like a spinach leaf, and some things you're eating for taste, like a bacon bit, right? They're not the same, people. They're not the same. Bacon versus lettuce, they're not the same. But lettuce doesn't really have much nutritional value in it, or if any, right? So think about it. Everything's got steroids in it nowadays. Everything's got chemicals. Why does lettuce have steroids in it? I'm just kidding about the lettuce having I don't know. But I'm just saying, everything's got steroids. Everything's genetically modified. And that's great that you can grow crops enough to feed all these people, to feed the demand. It's great you have supply for the huge demand. However, what is it going to do to our bodies? There are certain sicknesses going around right now that you could arguably say is directly related to America because it's a first world country and we have so much, and it's totally avoidable. One is fatty liver's disease. So we were talking about this the other day, right? Fatty liver's disease and how one gets fatty liver's disease. And it's totally an American thing. Fatty liver's disease leading nations. Now non-alcoholic, now referred to as metabolic. That is a global health crisis. Okay, I stand corrected. It is not. Okay, and the USA bears the heaviest burden in total numbers. Okay, so China, India, and the USA. So it's starting to go around the entire world. But I did think I thought I looked this up before, and the US had the heaviest numbers, but I didn't see all these other countries before when I had looked this up. But I guess this is going around now. But I wonder. Let me see. So you can see how prevalent it is, right? Now, let me see. How does one develop? How does one develop fatty liver disease? Okay, the accumulation of excess fat in liver cells, driven primarily by metabolic issues like obesity, type 2 diabetes, which was the other one I was about to name off, and insulin resistance, non alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD, or by heavy alcohol consumption. I ain't even gonna start about that one. But again, if you look at this, type 1 diabetes, you usually develop you're usually born with it, or it can develop later on. But type 2 diabetes is like usually put on you by your eating habits. Obesity is usually by your eating habits. We're not talking about the person that has a thyroid issue. We're talking about the 80%. The majority, obesity is a choice, right? It's a choice of what you are or are not eating, how you are or are not exercising. And remember, it's 80% diet, 20% exercise. Now, I'm not getting on to anybody. This is a money conversation, right? This all stems back to money. And I believe Ramza might have talked about something like that in the chat. So I'm gonna get to it in just a second, because he knows where I'm going with this. Insulin resistant, right? Alcohol consumption. Who needs to drink alcohol? Raise your hand and get out. No, I'm just kidding. No, alcohol is not a need. It's not a need. And so if you are a heavy consumer, I'm sorry, I've been corrupted by Ramza. Anyway, so if you need
Very
alcohol,
nice words, but happens to be wrong. Wrong.
it's right. It's right. If you need alcohol, thus alcohol dependent, that's a sad thing, but you need help. But how does that happen? I've never had a drink of alcohol. I've been next month I'll be 40 years sober. It is not next month, actually, to the day. I'll be 40 years old and sober the entire time. It's not a need. I'm not better than anybody because I could come up with a disease as well. Somebody will say, well, and then if that happens, somebody will be like, well, see, you could go to the gym and lift weights and run all these miles. And what is it all for? Because you could still develop something and die earlier than somebody else. Yes, you can. But I mean, let's be real. I enjoy lifting weights. I enjoy my traps blocking my earlobes, or when somebody called me, I got to turn my whole body to look at them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I enjoy actually the lifestyle that I live running. I got up this morning. I did not go to the gym, But I said, I'm going to do something because we were actually Toguro. You are stupid. We we stayed out late last night because we were. It was for my wife's birthday. She 3 days ago hit a birthday, and so we celebrated it last night. We went bowling, and then all the other couples and some people didn't bring husbands. Some of the gals didn't bring their husbands, but some of them did. So we're all talking and stuff, and we had a good time. So we got into bed late. So I said I'm gonna at least go run. I ran over 2 miles this morning. Slow as heck. My knees been bothering me, but 2 miles were run this morning. Right? I had sweat on the surface of my skin. Who's starting their day like that? It's Saturday. People are sleeping in. So just get what I'm saying. So he said, now let's tie this back to Aura. He said the future of healthcare is preventable. Well, currently, a lot of this stuff is preventable. I understand money constraints and quality of food that you can buy. I'm not talking about those people, right? McDonald's is not a need unless you're down that bad where you need a 50-cent cheeseburger or something. That's a thing, right? You may not have money for. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about by and large. I don't pull on the heartstrings because I done heard some sad stories. I've been a sad story before. I know that. But let's get to these comments really quickly, and then we'll go back to Oracle. Thank you for the JP Morgan Chase, man. That's actually awesome. Thank you also for this. Why Invest? Always a pleasure. Adding, so much value to the show. This guy right here needs to be stopped. Wait, let's see what he said. They have become profitable to a point of them being able to pay you back. They have to become profitable. That's that. See, you get your first fire emoji. See, right here. You done did it. Where's the thumbs down? Where's the thumbs down? I ain't got one. This is your thumbs down. I know what Toguro is, dummy. All right, so that goes back to Oracle, right? Or Aura. I think I said Oracle twice. Aura. The CEO, he put it very succinctly. So Tom Hale. So now you know one of the CEOs in the Robinhood Ventures fund. Okay. And I want you to know another one, actually. So let's look at this dude.
Hi, I'm Blake Scholl, founder and CEO of Boom-Supersonic. At Boom, our mission is to re-accelerate progress in making the planet more accessible by bringing supersonic flight back and ultimately making it available to everybody. In 2007, I was living in Seattle, and in the Seattle Museum of Flight, I saw the SR-71 Blackbird and Concorde, the most amazing military aircraft and the most amazing civil aircraft. And it just seemed wrong that the most amazing airplanes ever made were found in museums when nothing more inspiring was in our skies. That day, I set a goal of breaking the sound barrier. I thought I would do it by buying a ticket, but it turned out no one was doing it, so I had to start the company to make it happen. Boom is building supersonic passenger jets that ultimately we all can fly on. We're doing that step by step. Step one is the XB-1 aircraft behind me that broke the sound barrier last year and proved a practical solution for sonic boom. Step two, we're taking our propulsion technology we call superpower and delivering it first on the ground to power AI data centers, then as the Symphony jet engine to power the future of supersonic flight. That enables an airplane that we call Overture. This is the first new supersonic passenger jet since Concorde, and the one that I hope we all get to fly on in the not too distant future. One of the things I love about Boom is just how many people get excited about a renaissance in supersonic passenger flight and the idea of something new and better coming to travel. I often get asked, how do people get involved? And when I heard about Robinhood Ventures, I was super excited for us to connect in a new way with people who are believers in what we're doing. At Boom-Supersonic, we're incredibly excited to be partnered with Robinhood Ventures and finding a new way for people excited about Boom to come on board.
All right, another one. Now, let's go. All right. Something key that this guy said. There's a lot to this, right? the guy said as a kid he remembers seeing supersonic jets, and I know the jet he's talking about. In fact, I think that was the one from the old dude from the second Transformers was the jet he was talking about. The old dude with the walking stick. So he was a kid and saw it, and from the time he was a kid, wanted it. And now this man is at least in his 40s. Yep, he's at least in his 40s, I would say. He could be late 30s. But so he kept that goal his entire life. And then he started a company and actually did it. He broke the sound barrier. So a couple things come to mind, right? He said supersonic flight is what he wants to focus on, right? But then he mentioned an engine. And I don't know what the name of the engine was. Doesn't matter. Just remember that when he talked about the engine, engines need mechanics. Engines have to have parts. So what mechanics is he looking for? What kind of fuel are they using? Because it's going to need fuel. It's going to need parts. Who's building the parts? Think about it. Parts, fuel, that's so they're going to need to partner with somebody. Who are they going to get their fuel from? Who's going to make their parts? Who's manufacturing their engines? Are they manufacturing their own? Who's manufacturing their planes? Are they going to be a one-stop shop? Or are they going to part this out to other companies? Because you have to see a company's vision, and you have to know whether a company, when they are about, or they're private and you hear about them, are they a one-stop shop? Or are they going to be having economy built around them? Because you need to start asking those questions now if you really were going to be a serious investor in this when it IPO'd, right? Robinhood Ventures, you're buying it right now. Don't worry about it. But when it IPOs, though, you're going to want those questions asked. Well, I want them answered. I want them answered right now, to be honest. But think about it. NVIDIA has a circular economy built around it with TPUs, CPUs, GPUs, with chips, with AI, with money and investors. Just they have a circular economy and companies that are in it. And I talked about that before. So that's a thing that comes to mind here. Now, he talked about Concorde. Concorde used to be a hypersonic or supersonic jet airliner that existed, and they went bankrupt. And I think they might have been the last major, they might have actually been the last major airliner to go out of business, was Concorde way back. And he wants to bring hypersonic flight back to passenger jets. I'm going to tell you right now, I believe in that could work. He will come in and change the game. Why do I say that? Because who in here knows what speeds their aircraft is flying at when it's taking them to and from somewhere? Raise your hand and get out, because you're lying. You don't know that. A lot of times these planes are flying at 400-500 knots, 2 something. Now get out, because you don't know. But who knows what the speed of sound is? Raise your hand. Let's see. I don't have it pulled up. I mean, y'all can see my screen. I work in aviation. I'm an air traffic controller, and I have to know these things, right? I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. I don't know why I'm second guessing myself. It's 676 miles per hour, right? And so he wants jets flying at that. This guy's crazy, man. This guy's crazy. I will give that the fire, because that's what he's about to leave on the ground. The speed of sound is 676 miles per hour. But let me see what that is in knots. Let me see. The speed sound in miles per hour. Oh, 767. I always do that. It's not 676, it's 767. Dyslexia. Okay, and then in knots. Okay, so it's 666 in knots and 767 in miles per hour. That's fast, ladies and gentlemen. That's fast. That is fast. Usually with jets, like even fighter jets, unless they have an afterburner, they're not reaching the speed of sound. They're not doing it. So there's your speed of sound. So this is how fast he wants people to go from California to Florida, from Orlando to Chicago, from Japan to California. He would change the game if these jets are flying that much faster than the average jet. Let's see. What speed is the average commercial plane flying? Yeah, 550, 600 miles per hour. So 475. So not 666 and not up here 767. That's much faster when you think about it. So look, it's 0.78 and 0.85 Mach. Mach 1 is speed of sound, right? So he's trying to achieve people flying in that sonic boom. Bring ear protection. But just get what I'm saying. He's going to change the Spirit would have been out of business one way or another. Cheap ain't going to work when people can save time. It's not going to work when people can save time. Why do you think AI is booming? Because people can save time by putting in automated processes, right? So just think about that. So there's another CEO within RVI. We'll look at some next week. Let me see. I've got a couple minutes before we hit the 1 hour mark. So let's see. What can I throw in here? Because I could do another CEO here. Or, no. Go back.
Hi, I'm
Not to him.
founder and
Not to him. All right, let's see where are the other ones at. Hey, that's crazy. Look at Jeff Bezos with hair. Y'all see him? That's crazy. I'm just kidding. All right, so yeah, we have more CEOs. I'm gonna skip these because we will not get to any of the other topics. That's SoundHound. There's a Humphrey video. Let's talk about this Hanta Virus cruise. So this Hanta Virus, I'm not actually well read up on this, but this is what was talked about earlier in the show. The death toll was what, 393? 309. 309 confirmed deaths. But, everything starts with one. I don't know much about this. So if anybody in the chat knows more about this, please let me know what you know. All right, let's see what we got here. So, Hanta virus is a family of viruses primarily spread by rodents. Oh, rats on ships. We haven't seen that before in history. All right. Sometimes fatal. Sometimes, okay. It can cause serious, sometimes fatal respiratory or don't even hemorrhagic. There you go. Diseases in humans. While generally rare, recent attention has centered on an outbreak associated with the MV Hondius cruise ship in early 2026. So, okay, most hantaviruses are New World viruses that cause hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, HPS, or Old World varieties mostly found in Europe and Asia. Well, Eurasia is the continent. And cause hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome. HFRS. Primary source: humans typically become infected with contact with urine. What y'all doing out there? Feces. What are y'all doing out there? Or saliva of infected rodents, such as long-tailed pygmy rice rats or deer mouse. Oh, so from the rodents. Okay. I still want to know how y'all would get some. Okay. Well, all right. So infections. Oh, what do you got? Rats eat and then run along your kitchen and whatnot. Yeah, that's true. That is true. That's very true. Doggone rats. Hey, if you got rats in your house, yeah, kids do put everything in their mouth, right? Hand, foot, mouth disease. If you got rodents, I tell you, in the Northeast, especially like New York, Jersey, PA, CT, they cover that house with the peppermint spray. You'll see squirrels, chipmunks, everything fleeing. They do not like peppermint spray. That's just from the blacksmith to you. Um, so humans typically, oh no, I read that. Infection often occurs by breathing in tiny droplets of virus particles. So it's airborne. Doggone it, it's airborne. Human to human, while extremely rare. Andis. The strain implicated recent cruise ship is the only known. Okay. In 1 to 8 weeks. Okay. So fever, fatigue, and muscle aches, especially in the thighs, hips, and back. Wow. Some experience headaches, dizziness, and chills after 4 to 10 days. In the initial phase, coughing, shortness of breath occurs in the lungs. Whoa, as the lungs fill with fluid. Whoa, now this just got, wait a minute. This just got serious. Filled with fluid is nutso. All right, folks, go get checked up on, because you don't want that.
What did he say?
Now, hey, that's what I'm trying to figure out. What do they say? The fatality rate is significant, ranging from 1 to 50%. Probably for that, obviously, for the late stage. All right, so there's something new going around, is what I'm seeing. I'm sure you guys are reading. You're probably reading it much faster than I am, but yeah, something else is going around. See, my son, it said he had influenza B. There was a long list of stuff when they stuck the cotton swab up through his eyeball and out his brain. I felt bad for that little dude. I couldn't even watch. I was like, oh, I looked anyway, but then I looked away, but then I looked back. But yeah, influenza B is what he has, and so, or had. I don't know. He's mostly over it. He's coughing now, but I don't know. See, the World Health Organization and CDC maintain that the risk to the general public remains low, as the virus does not spread easily like COVID-19 or the flu. So it's totally different than the flu, and it's not COVID-19, and they're saying it doesn't spread the same. I don't know after living through COVID, I don't know what's true anymore when they come out and talk about these diseases. Gene Hackman. Hey, I remember Gene Hackman. She died from this? Oh, shoot. See, I wonder what the living conditions are. I know what you're talking about. Gene Hackman's wife, she was of Asian descent. She was 60 something, I want to say. And she passed away, they said probably 3 to 5 days, a couple days before he passed away. He was alive. I won't say well, but he's in his 90s, 95, I think. And they said they think he passed away from like dehydration and malnourishment and stuff because she was taking care of him. I didn't know that's what she passed away from, though. They said they think he had just been wandering around the house with the dead body in the house because he had like dementia. Um, so he wasn't knowing where he was until he just ended up dying. And I don't even remember how they found him, but I did not know that that's what she allegedly died from. All right. So protect yourselves at all times. Time to wear masks outside again. Time to for social distancing. You heard it here first on the Blacks. I'm just playing. I'm playing about all of that. I'm not saying do that. It does seem to be it. I do want to take it seriously because the worst thing that could happen is somebody had a family member, somebody that died from this, and I'm sitting here goofing, but I'm not making light of their deaths if you know somebody that died from it. I'm just saying, like, here we go again. Many people saying that the hospitals were calling everything a COVID death. Yeah, so I heard that as well. Y'all gonna get this channel taken down talking about this CV-19 stuff. But they can't take my Discord. They can't take. Oh shoot, OtterBox. So, more chats. What do we got? Because they were getting paid. All right, yeah. Workers were allegedly fired for speaking out. All right, I will tell you this. So my wife and I, one time we were going somewhere when I used to live down in San Diego in Santee. And my wife had a neighbor, and the neighbor, she is a nurse, and she worked at a clinic or hospital or whatever. I'm going to let her and where she worked be anonymous. But she said that she asked us after we were talking to her for a little bit, you guys haven't heard about COVID anymore, have you? And we were like, nah. And she was looking at us like, should I tell them? And so we're looking at her like, what? So she said, I'll tell you what, you ever get the flu vaccine? And my wife said, nah, I've never gotten a flu vaccine ever. And I said, well, I have to get it every year. The Navy makes us get it. And she said, well, now this ain't allegedly. She did say this. And I'm not saying who she is or where she works because I want to protect her privacy. She said, well, you haven't heard about it anymore because, and they stopped like really talking about the vaccine so much because they just put it in the flu shots. And I was like, huh? I'd been duped, hoodwinked, bamboozled. I didn't fall on. No, I'm just playing. So that's what she told us. And my specialty is I specialize in leadership and air traffic control. And I'm gonna tell you what, I let her specialize in nursing. If that's what she said, I guess that's what it is. Yeah. I've been corrupted, man. I've been corrupted. Do you see this guy with this red chocobo symbol? This guy's crazy, man. But yeah, folks, listen, keep safe out there. Make sure you're eating healthy. This Oura Ring thing is a good idea, but I will tell you, I've seen it. I've seen it in person, and people have shown me like some of the analysis that it does and whatnot. I think it's actually a very crazy concept turned technology and turned reality, right? But why would you go buy an Oura Ring and then still do the same unhealthy habits? I've seen that too. Your finger gets so swollen it gets stuck or it won't fit. I'm just kidding. But anyway, that's the show for today, folks. I will have more for you next week. Next week, I'm going to give you a sneak peek. Next week, I want to meet 2 or 3 of these other CEOs, and I'm going to have more stuff about their companies. So you can get excited about investing into RVI. I'm not telling you to, but I think you should be excited about the opportunity to do something that the 1% have had access to since the stock market began, and the 99% have not. I'm just saying, there could be a reason that you should be excited about doing something the 1% gets a chance to do. And I say this, we talked about, I think it was last week, right? People, or 2 weeks ago, people trying to look rich versus being wealthy, right? Somebody pulling up in a Lambo doesn't tell me they have money. It tells me they spent money, either on Turo, on a rental car, either at a rental agency in Miami, right? Or it was their money, or they're driving somebody else's car who really loves and trusts them, or knows they drive like crazy and they're looking for an insurance come up. I'm just kidding. Or they spent money. It doesn't mean they have money. They spent money. And they may be spending $2,000-$3,000 on a car note every single month. They spent money. It doesn't mean they have money, right? So the illusion of wealth is real, but the SEC doesn't play about accredited investors. So if they're an accredited investor, they actually have wealth, right? And so if you can now do what they could do, that means something. So I'm not telling you have to invest in this, and I'm definitely not telling you where, because I've done no analysis on this, and I don't know why invest if there's even enough data out there for it yet to be able to look at signals for it rising and falling, because it just started in March, so probably not. But that's one that I would love to. Yeah, I figured. Thank you, though. Because they're too new. So I couldn't even tell you. I'm just saying, if it fell back down to IPO price, which it's saying 22, I got in at 25, and that was my IPO price. If it goes down around that area again, I would say jump into it. But I'm just trying to bring financial literacy, folks. And so we're going to meet some more of these CEOs next week. And that's all I could tell you. I might go over some more investment news next week. But that's the show for today. Thank y'all for joining me. The Forge is going cold. I appreciate you. Love you. I will see you next week. Uh-oh. Hold on. What we got? If anyone's interested, I started a Bible prophecy podcast on YouTube. It's called Oneness Prophetic Research. Oh, thanks for that. We'll have to check that out. Ain't nothing wrong with a little Bible. No, you're good. You're good. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. If y'all are interested, going over there to it. I appreciate that. And appreciate you for being here. Y'all have a great week.